You traded dawn patrols for overtime, and the ocean hasn't seen you in weeks. So here's the fix. For coastal ports where the cost of living drops to a 90s pace, and your time on the water jumps.
What does a struggling store do when it wants to attract new customers? Often, it puts on a sale. And what does a struggling city do when it wants to attract new residents? If it's the city of Cumberland, Maryland, it offers a bonus with a string attached.
I'll show you where slip fees don't wreck your budget. Launch ramps are 5 minutes from home, and the bite is reachable before work. Stay with me, because each spot shifts money from mortgage stress into rods, bait, and fuel. We'll map the tide, the commute, and the savings so you can fish more and worry less. Let's dive in. You moved closer to the coast, paid the premium, and somehow you fish less. That gap isn't about desire. It's the math. Higher housing, insurance, and fuel bills squeeze your hours until the prime tide windows slide past while you grind. You still set the alarm before dawn, but the first cast gets traded for a commute, and the whisper of bait on the surface turns into traffic noise. Here's the core problem. When the monthly nut climbs, you plug the hole with overtime or a side shift. That robs early light and last light, which are the best shots for a bite. Add a longer drive to work to chase a cheaper rent, and your boat sits. You feel it when you check the forecast, see a clean swell and a light breeze, and still can't launch. The ocean didn't change. Your time did. Now look at the trade you're making. Mortgage stress on one side, marine life on the other. You know the fish slide up current at dawn. You know the bait stacks on the edge when the flow starts. But bills pull you the other way. You get up, you're geared, then you turn left to the office. By sunset, you're late. The wind has built chop, and the ramp lot is jammed. That's not lack of drive. That's mispriced time. The leak set up. You drive 25 extra minutes to the affordable ramp because the close one raised day rates. You circle for parking, idle in line at the dock, lose another 20 to boat wakes and ramp traffic. We can stack worse. Everyone else is off, so the courtesy dock clogs, and you burn your calm water in a queue instead of on a drift. Even small chores cost minutes. Ice, bait, fuel, when they sit on different sides of town. There's a simple way to see it. It's like running against the tide. You push hard, but the current takes half your effort. The more you strain, the less ground you gain. When your cost of living surges, the current is strong. Every bill adds pull. You can sprint, but the distance to the fish grows. In the high-demand coasts, the pattern is clear. Costs go up, hours at work go up, and leisure time shrinks. Weekend-only anglers feel it most. One blown weather day wipes half your month on the water. You try to make up for it with a longer Sunday, but fatigue and crowds cut the payoff. Meanwhile, the fish don't adjust to your schedule. Dawn stays dawn. Contrast that with small port dynamics. In pricey hotspots, ramps fill by first light, slips carry premium rates, and wait lists stretch. You spend more to stand still. In quieter towns, the ramp gate opens and you roll straight down. Shorter lines, shorter runs, and you're on structure before the sun clears the trees. You don't need a luxury marina. You need a modest harbor that runs on practical rates and steady access. Here's the good part. You can buy back hours without leaving the coast. Some towns stay off the radar and still sit near estuaries, reefs, and inlets. Lower rent or mortgage, sane insurance, shorter drives. That shift gives you more drifts per week, not just bigger hopes on Saturday. So treat this as a budget problem, not a motivation problem. Fix the spend, and the tide windows open. You'll trade late nights at the desk for early lines in the water. Next up, I'll show you 4 low-cost ports that flip the math, so more of your money goes to gear and fuel, not rent. What if you cut your housing bill and added 2 weekday dawn runs without giving up the coast? That's the financial tide change. Shift to a small port where rent and slips aren't punishing, and the payoff shows up as hours, not just dollars. You spend on bait, fuel, and good line. You spend less on the roof. You want access that holds up when the wind shifts. You want nearshore structure, an estuary for backups, and offshore runs on fair days. You also want a ramp that doesn't eat your morning. Do these towns deliver on slips, ramps, and fish? Yes, and the trick is they're working harbors first, recreation second. That balance keeps fees sane and keeps lines short. Start with a Gulfside port. You get a creek-fed estuary that dumps bait into the bay, plus nearshore reefs a short run out the pass. On most weekdays you launch, idle through the markers, and set up on a reef before work. Smaller marinas post rates that match their scale, not big tourist pricing. On windy days, you tuck into grass edges and channels and work the moving water. When the swell lays down, you slide out for a quick bottom drop, then run back on a straight line with time to spare.
Now head to a mid-Atlantic working harbor. The inlet is close, the channel is well used, and you get real seasons. Spring brings runs that move fast along the beach. Summer stacks bottom fish on wrecks and patches of rock. Here, community ramps sell simple annual passes and keep hours that match the fleet. You park, you launch, and you're in the tide line without a parade. On a weekday, you can chase a color change, pick a drift, and still make a mid-morning meeting. Third, think Pacific Northwest in a sheltered bay. Protected water gives you plan B when the outer coast turns white. You work tide scenes in the bay on windy days, then roll through the bar on fair windows for a shot outside. Moorage stays modest because the town serves trollers, crabbers, and small boats, not a luxury scene. That means shorter wait lists and slips sized for skiffs and pocket cruisers. Winter storage is simple too, you put the hull on blocks or a trailer and keep costs tight while the fronts march through. Fourth, look at a New England harbor with mixed structure. Shoals, rips, boulder fields, and flat sand all within a short run. When the shoulder season hits, marina space opens and rates get practical. You haul out for winter without a premium penalty, then go right back in when the water warms. On clear mornings, you work the rip lines with light gear. When the tide slacks, you slide to the lee of a point and tap inshore ground that refreshes on each push. Here's why this works. Smaller ports run like a sensible boat. Less weight, quicker to plane. Wait lists stay shorter because the demand is local. Fees track the cost of service, not hype. Local rules keep ramp prices modest to support day-to-day fleets, which helps you too. That mix of access and cost turns into more casts, more drifts, and more days when you can say yes to the tide. The top return comes from one simple blend: low slip fees plus multi-zone access. Estuary when the wind pipes. Nearshore when the swell is fair. Offshore when the window opens. That spread multiplies your fishable days and puts weekday bites back on the table. Next up, let's map how to act. You'll set a clean budget, pull current rates, and run a short checklist to see if one of these ports fits your life right now. Lower costs and easier access do one thing: they hand you tide time. When billsies and ramps sit close, you swap overtime for first light drifts. That's the payoff: more days out on the water, not more line items on a spreadsheet. Shortlist one of the 4 ports. Call for current slip rates. Plan a 2-day scout. Walk the docks, note current speed, and time the run from ramp to your first mark. Talk to locals about wind days and winter storage. Bring a notepad and write the numbers that matter. If this helped, subscribe and come back for more trips and tips that save your budget.